Assalamu alaikum. Hi. In today's video we're gonna see a Python program which would do these things. What we're gonna do? Let's write a list of the things that we're gonna do in the program. The program gonna do actually it would read the data from the file first. Then it would what it would do. It would put the data in an to-do list, then it would update the data in the list, and then it would write the data in a new file. Okay, that's what the things that our program gonna do. And now I just want to write the things that what we're gonna use in the program. So the things that we're gonna use are 2D list or lists. Uh, so we are reading the file. So we see the code which can read the file. So read file code and the writing code for the file. How you can create a new file, or you can write in a file which is already created, or you can create a file right in it, and how to change the values or update the values in in a list. And you will also see uh, how functions or methods works. So these are the things we're gonna use. I think this program would be the great example for the two-dimensional lists and the functions or methods. So first of all, I want to write the main program. So I'm putting everything in the function so it'll be easier to understand. First of all, when we define a function, we type def. It means we are going to define a function, saying the main function um, would have. Let's go to the do list. It's good to always make the thing that you're gonna do. Make a to-do list first and see what the points you have. Try to divide them in a couple of functions, and then put the code in the functions. So that's what we actually gonna do. So I think the first one will be reading the files. So I am just writing the name of the method. Actually we're gonna call the method inside main. We didn't write any code yet for the program or for any method. So I'm giving the name to a new method, but I'm not writing the code. I'm just writing the name to call. So read file, and what we're gonna do, I think we can also do this part in the same method. So I'm giving it a big name and a name that you can that will tell you what we actually gonna do. Read file key and keep the data in list. Keep it, I think, in list. I think it's a good name, recognizable. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't think about the parameters yet. We can look at it later. And the second step, what we should do, we should update the data. So I will create a new method. I'm just typing the name right now. Update data. I think it's enough. It looks good. And at the end, we write the data in a new file. So I would say write data new file. Okay, it looks really good. So, and now what I'm when I'm looking at it, I can see that there is a thing that we don't have and we should have is the list. So let's create a list, an empty list, and the rack list, we would have all the data which we read from the file. First of all, I want to show you the file that we have data in, so you would know how we can deal with the data. Where it is. Here it is. Okay, so this is our file, and the file has the records for students. Every line have a single record. This in the start, this is the ID number for a student, their name, first last name, their major, their credit hours, and their quality points. And what we need to do, we would read the data line by line. So this is the first line, and this would be the zero of rack. This should be saved the zero of rack. And because we have two dealers, so we have access to each of them. We didn't write the code, don't worry. We're just planning what we can do. So for example, if someone say rack 00, it means you're talking about this data, this ID. And if someone say 1012 and 01234, if someone say two rack 2 and 4, it means talking about the creators of the last record. So that's how it should go. Let's type the code for the read file keep it in list method. Oh, what I did. Okay, so we are creating a new method which name is read file. I copied it, so I just pasted. And we have a rack method in the main. And why I put it in the main, why I didn't making it here, initializing it here, because I'm gonna use it in all of them, so it should be here. So, and I'm gonna pass this one in the method. Putting a parameter or putting a variable or list or whatever name here, it means you are calling this method or function and giving the value of whatever you type. For example, if I type rack, it means whatever the value and type of rack is would go in the method automatically. So I'm saying this method would use this parameter from the main program. Okay, let's write the code for this. So first of all, we say file. This is the variable name of a file. Actually, all data would be in the file in this variable. It can be anything. So file, and we say open to open a file. And we have two things in it. First of all is the name of the file. So I save the file with the name program3, and you should type the type. And the file was .txt type, so I put it here. This name could be in a variable if when we want to put in the file name in a variable, so it should be like this. For example, variable. If it's a variable which contains the name of the file which you ask actually user through input, it could be like this. It won't be in parentheses, but um, we have a single file here with a certain name, and in the second code we would write R. It's not necessary to write R, but it's good. It says R means open program3.txt to read and put all data in this variable. That's what this line gonna do. Okay. After that, now we wanna read the file line by line. To read data line by line, I would say for line and file. Here, line is not a command; it's just a variable. It could be I. What it would do, it would file has the whole file. So if when you use for with any of the variable, this variable contain a line each time. The first line first, then second, then third. It would go end till the end, and the for would run uh, till whatever number of the lines in the file we have. So just to make it easy to understand, I'm typing a line, but it really a variable. And now I'm saying rack, which is this, this is the list where we're gonna put the data. Append. I'm saying line, which is this for, actually a line, and saying split. And here you go. Actually, this line did all the things for us, but let's try to understand this thing. Okay, so we had the empty list, and we know how the list looks like. Let me type a list. For example, if rack have some data, a simple list as 1D list would be like this. For example, ABC, it should have code string, and then XYZ. So simply a list is a variable. You can say is a variable which contains more than one value. It become a list, and it's under these bar brackets. So now in the start we had the empty rack. It was an empty list. It has nothing. What append does, append add the values, whatever value we give here, it add it in the variable in the list that we wrote before. So it would add this value, read the line, it would split the line and put it in the rack. Why we use a split? Why we didn't only write the line? Let's go back to the, let me delete this. Let me go back to the file. Here it is. So line means if this line in the for means the whole string. But what the split would do, a split would split the whole line. If I didn't write anything in these bracket, it means with the space between the words, split them, make another list, and then which means this line return a list of these things. So this line generates, this line dot split generates um, 0 1 2 3 4 5, uh, a small list of 6 items, and it adds this list, append actually adding this list in rack. So now the rack is like this. it's it's now actually there is a list under the list. Rack was the list, but now append add the list returned by split to rack. So it's now like this, and first one have all the data from this. Copy and paste. Ooh, I cannot show you the whole thing. It will take a lot of time, but just to try to make you understand. Okay, so the typing it. Let me type the single line so you can understand. Um, Similarly to all these things, now it has a list which contains all these things as a string. Sorry, I put the wrong. It shouldn't be in the bracket. Here's the bracket and here's it as. Similarly to all of them, they have similarly these codes are everywhere till the end. So this is the first record, and if I want to access the ID, I would say this is this record 0. Similarly, it would have the second record here and then third record at the end. So it's a list of lists now, 2D list, and if I want to access a single element in the list, for example, if I want to access the credit hours, I would say this is the whole record is 0, so the rack 0, and in the 0 we are 0 1 2 3 4. I would say if I want to access the 30 in this one, so I would say rack 0. It means the very first record, because there are 3 records in it, 0 1 and 2. So from 0, the first record took the fourth one. Oh, I'm sorry, there is no comma between them. So it would give me in the result 30. Oh, so that's how it's gonna work. Um, but not we know it. It's like that. We would use it later in the program. What else we need to do? So this line actually does everything for us, reading the whole file, all the lines, putting it in the rack into the array form, and now we need to close the file which we open. Remember, we have to close the files whenever we open them to read or write. So it's a simple way to close them. Just type the variable name, which was file, and then close. Excuse me. The one other thing that I wanted you to know is return. We're not gonna return anything in this one, but it's good to type return. It gives good visibility, and it says that we actually are just ending our method here, even we are not returning any value. Why are we not returning rack? It's a list, it's not a variable. If you want to use the value in the variable, we have to return and have a catcher here, but it's a list. And if you I not want to go in the detail of the reference type variables and how they work, but in the list you don't need to actually return it if you update it here, and you want to use it in the update data, you can use it. It will have the same values as as it has here, and when you update the data it would have same value even though you don't return it in the writing method where we're gonna write in the last method. So this was our first method. Let's go to the second one, which would actually gonna update the data. So I wanna just copy from here, and we should have def in the start, and we would have rack we're gonna use inside. Okay, and what we want to do now, we have everything in it in the rack, and we want to update. Let me show you the file. And now we want to update the credit hours and the quality points. So we would ask user first to give these two values, and then we would add them. We need to add them in the old one. So it seems like the person who passed the semester have earned some new credits and quality points, and we just adding them in their older record. So um, first of all, we'll say, for example, cred equal to input, and in the input we would ask enter the credits that a student earned last semester. Okay, and it should be a number, and we're gonna add it, so we cannot add a string. Whenever we take an input in Python, it comes it in as a string, so we have to convert it into integer every time. But the other thing we need to update is quality points, so I would say qpts. Similarly, integer, we have to convert it, and input. Similarly, we say enter the quality points student earned last semester. Okay. Oh, we didn't close the bracket for int. Here you go. And now, so we have the input. Now we want to add them in the older record. So, and we need for that, because we want to ask for everyone. So we need for, and how many times the for should go. For should go to the all of the records. So, and the record have all the records. So I would say I would give the name single rack in rack. Rack have all the records, so it would okay, here you go. So now it would ask 3 times, but at the same time it should be adding it should be adding them. So I would say, and the single rack, the single record actually would have, let me open the file, this whole record every time, once each time. So if I say a single record, because if I'm saying single record, it means the only one of them. So if I say single record 0 1 2 3 4, it means I'm talking about 30 or 15 or 60. If I say single record 5, it means 120, 50 or 180. So I would use it. Single rack 4 is equal to the same value, and add creds. Remember that it's when we read the file, everything was in a string, so we have to convert the single rack first into the integer, then we can add them. We cannot add a string with an integer, so we convert it into the string in the integer, then we add with it, and then we save it back to the position we actually updated. Then I use single rack 5, which is the quality point. So I would say int yeah UPTS, and I would say here single rack 5. Okay, so it would add it, but later when we were gonna write it into another file, we need to have everything in the string. We can write a string, not integers and anything else, so we have to convert it back to the string. So once it changed both of them, add them, update them, the updated data would we replace it. We what we do, we replace the updated data back to string, and we can then I believe I can do it here instead of doing that. Then we can write later. Let me I didn't try, but I think it should work. Okay, so it would convert. So first of all, it would read this part. So what it would do, it would convert the single rack for into the integer, add it with the credits given, the new credits, and change back. Then it would read the upper bracket and convert it into the string again and put it back to their position. Okay, I think that's all we need in this function. Now we can go to write the data in a file. So now we have the last step of our program. So we say def write the file, and it should have rack in it. And now we're gonna type. So we would again open a file. So I'm using the same file name. It really doesn't matter because we already done with the file that we were using to using just to read. So if we were using the same file for reading still, I shouldn't be using this same name. I can use file1 or out file or something like that, but as we don't need this variable again, so I can use it again with the new value. So this time I'm using this name to write a file. When you're gonna write a file, we can say w, which means write. We can give a name out.txt. File extensions are important. So what this w does, actually it find the file which has this name. If it's not there, it would create the file for you. If it is there, it would remove everything in it and write what we're gonna write down. And our code would actually, the code that we're gonna write right here would actually remove everything which the file already had and write the new things in it. um, but yeah, this W has the ability to create a new file if it's not exist. So we didn't actually have the out file right now, but it would create it for us. Don't So we don't need to worry about it. We should have the opening file in the same path. We can type a path here instead of just a file name. If you're just typing the file name, make sure that the file should be in the same folder where your program is the important point. Okay, so what now we need for to go through all the lines. Again, I will use single rack. It is not connected with a single rack here because it's a different method. Similarly to the file, it's a different method. So the file introduces, initializes, and declares everything was inside the method. When the method ends, nothing from this we return. So everything over here is just here, not gonna be out except rack because it's a list. So single rack, we're using same variables again, but they are not actually connected with each other. Okay, except the rack. Okay, so what we wanted to do, I would write file dot write. It means it's saying the file, this file actually now is here. So file dot write, what should it write? It should write single rack. It means every single record, because in the for it would go through till end. Single rack. I think that's it. And then after typing the every single record, give a new line, or I think say it here. I think I could. I'm not quite sure. I think it should work. This means a new line character. I think I'm missing one thing. Okay, so there's this restriction with this write thing. This write can only write strings. Now the single rack is actually, where's my file? Okay, here it is. This single rack means a list which contains this all the things here. So it cannot write the whole uh, list. It should be converted to string. So now we have um, list here, and we have to convert it to a string. So it's a simple way. So I'm putting it in the same variable name. It may be confusing for maybe a new programmer. Let me try to understand. Says join, yeah, and then join. What I'm saying, join everything which is in the single rack, but place a space between them and put the value, this new value. It would return a string. This line would return the string. It would join everything, but it would give a space between them and put it in the single rack. Instead of using single rack again and make you confused, it's totally fine, but I want to remove it and saying a string rack to make it a little easier for you. and we are returning this here. Yeah, I think it should work perfectly. Um, and I believe there's nothing to write. Return. Let's run the program and see. So what how our program is doing. This is our main program. It's creating the rack, sending it to all of them. First of all, it would read the file, run the code, then it will update the data and write it into a new file. And when it's updating that, it would ask in the input, if we give the new values, it would add to the old values and put it in the new file, which I didn't create yet. So let me run it for you. We didn't save the program, so we have to save it, and you should be doing it all the time. I would say updater.py. I'm saving it in the desktop where my files are, where my actually proc3 file is. Okay, it's now saved. It actually run here. You see, ooh, why it doesn't show anything? That's the reason. And the reason is we have a main program here, but we didn't call the main program, so it's not gonna run anything, and should be here return. So the terminating the main, and we should call the main. So the main would call this, and then everyone would be called as in their positions. So again, it's asking you to save the program, and here it is. So I can give any value, just I'm giving 1. Okay, here's the problem. It's a typo, I believe. Single rack. I should be here single rack. I make a mistake here. Ooh, single. Okay, let's run the program again. I'm pressing F5 actually. You can go to, let me show you here. You could go to run the program, you could go to run and then F5, but I know it runs with the F5. So here's our shell output window. It's asking us for credit hours for the first person, then quality points for the first one, then for the second one, then for the third one, and didn't say anything because we didn't print anything at the end. Now I want to open the file, both files actually. Here's my output file and here's the input file. So you can see, first we had this file, we had data 30 and 20 15 15 61 80. It updated everything with 1. It adds 1 to everything. That's the program. I want to say a couple of things before completing the video that you can make it improve. As we were saying, a student, you can give the name of the student by using single rack 1, because 0 there is an ID, and at the 1 is the name of the student, the first name. So you can put the first name here, second name here. Similarly, at the end, when you're done writing the program, or here you can just print that I write the whole updated data in out.txt. Thanks. So it would make your program a little better and give a proper response that it goes to end. Thank you for watching the video. Subscribe my channel. Have a nice day.